Hello students, in the previous video, if you've been following through, we created this frequency table from this set of data. And we did that in a reasonably manual process where we had to look at what the values were for the left-hand column ourselves and type them in. And then we sort of went through one by one, adding a value till we got this frequency value on the right. And for those who are really keen-eyed at the moment, you might also notice from the previous video that I have moved them over one column and also added these two headings in, which I forgot to do in the previous video. Of course, that doesn't affect the information itself, but it certainly makes it a little bit neater. What I'm going to do in this video is replicate this using some formulas and some functionality, which again, as I indicated in that previous video, might be a bit of overkill, for this small data set, but would be very, very useful if we had a much, much larger data set and it's much more impractical to go through it line by line. So if this is not something you really want to keep watching, that's fine, I understand. But if you'd like to see how to do it, please watch on. So we're going to set up exactly the same table, and I'll do it just to the side here so we can match it up as we go. So we're going to use the same heading, and I'm going to copy and paste it just to save some time. The same column headings as well, we'll copy and paste those. Now, the first thing we do is find the values that we're going to put down, and they're going to come from finding all the unique values in this list here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a quick copy of that list and I'm just going to stick it over on the side for now. Okay, so I don't want to change the values here, that's why I've made a copy of it, and I'm going to do a couple of things. So the first thing I'll reselect this, and I'm going to go to my menu and I'm going to choose the data menu. And I'm then going to come across and I'm going to find this remove duplicates. So that's going to automatically look at the selection that I have and it's going to remove all the duplicate values and just leave me one of each value. So when I click on that, it double checking what section I want to use. So I want to use column L, that's correct, and I'll press OK. So it's telling me it found 25 duplicates and there are 5 unique values. So if I press OK on that, then I have my 5 values. Now I can already see that they are the correct values, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, but they're not in order. So the next thing I'm going to do is reselect those unique values, and I'm simply going to, still from the data menu, choose the sort option A to Z, which is the same as saying smallest to biggest. So if I click that, it resorts my selection. Okay, so I now have the correct set of numbers, so I can copy that from here and put it into my table. Okay, and I don't need these anymore, so I will delete them. So in only a few clicks, really, I've been able to find all the unique values and put them in their order. And again, probably overkill for this because it was quicker for me to see. I get 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. But imagine that I had 1,000 data points. It's certainly a lot quicker to do this than it was to do it manually. So now that I have my values, I need to get the frequency. So again, I'm not going to go one by one anymore. I'm going to use a formula to find all of the 8s and put it here. Then I'm going to use a formula to find all the 9s, the 10s, 11s, and the 12s. So let's have a look at how we do that. So if we go equals, because it's a formula, we are going to use a count formula. In fact, we're going to use a count if, which lets us use a condition. So we want to count any value in this range if the value is 8. So we do that by choosing the count if. It wants the range first, so I'm going to highlight over this range and put a comma. And then it wants to know the criteria, the value that it has to be for it to be counted. And the value that I want is the value 8, which I have sitting right here. So I'm going to select that, reference that cell, close my formula, and press enter. So it's now going to this set of data and it's saying how many of them are this number 8, and if it goes through, it finds 1, 2 of them. So I've got my frequency straight away. If I put the same formula into each of these cells, but make sure I reference the number next to it, then I can very quickly do my frequency table. So again, count if, all right, the range of values that I want to count from, so it's that range, and the value that I want to be counting is next to me here. Equals count if the range of values that I want, comma, to separate it out, and the value that I want to count. Two more times, count if the range of values and then the value that we want. And there is a quicker way to put these in, but I'm not going to go through that in this video because there's only 5. It's not the end of the world if I type them in. So count if and then the value that I want. Okay, so we can see that our two tables now look identical. The benefit of this now, though, especially, is if I come over here and let's say my data changed. So let's pretend I didn't only have 2 8s. Let's change the first number to also be an 8. You can see that this table here did not change because these numbers we have typed in manually, whereas this table that's using a calculation, it has adjusted. We now have 3 8s and we have 1 less 10 because we changed this value. So again, we're always looking for ways to use calculations so that if data changes, we can instantly, or very quickly at least, see what those changes might mean. So as I said before, this might be a bit overkill for you with such a small data set, especially if you don't anticipate that data changing, but it's a really good skill to learn. And certainly if I was doing this, then I would be doing it using this method with the formulas instead of manually counting each of the values. So hopefully that has helped you as well. Again, use it as you see fit.